Hello, good evening to everybody out there on the outreach. Welcome back to another amazing day of surfing here. A little bit of a later viewing, which is great. We have to be accommodating, which is so fun. It's an interesting time being on lockdown, but it is also very cool that we are able to reach to places. Today's call will be in Australia. We're catching up with Tom Carroll, who I definitely don't need to introduce. But before we get moving into today's show, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's watching this thing. I still honestly cannot believe we're pulling this off. This is, again, just straight up in my room. It started about 2.5 weeks ago, fully grassroots mode, played Searching for Tom Curran, and each day it has progressively gotten more and more crazy. We're catching up now with the people in depth who are in these movies or who made these movies, and the doors are sort of swinging wide open. Yesterday, of course, with Lisa Anderson, Bill Ballard texted me afterwards, was all stoked that we did that. That was one of his more special movies that he made. He's amped to come onto the show. He wants to break down Better Days. He wants to break down The Moment. I mean, these are incredible movies. Bruce and Andy footage in those is out of control. So, just thank you to everyone for all the support, for reaching out to me. I've had a lot of people hit me on the Instagram showing me their collections, which I just love. Still waiting for that video. Whoever's the first one to do that, you're guaranteed getting on the next intro for the show. And I don't know, I just think it's really cool that we have this place here together. I know, globally this is a really interesting time, and a lot of us are on lockdown and it's important to stay at home, but this is a cool space and place to have as an escape. I think I kind of look at it like that, and we don't have to worry about too much. I was kind of playing around with the tune in and stoke out slogan, but there's something to it in the sense that we're just trying to learn about the people who gave a lot to the culture of surfing right now, so that when we can get back on our surfboards, we can push that forward and echo it forward. There's already been some great ones. I'm trying to think. Shane Dorian came on. He had a really cool insight. There's been so many. Nathan Fletcher as well was always insightful. Dane Reynolds giving back to the culture, Chapter 11 TV. So I mean, to bring it to today with Tom Carroll, pinnacle. For me, I literally couldn't sleep last night. I was so excited. I've always looked up to Tom in the way that he surfs so different from so many different people. He is, if you're talking power surfing, he's got to be one of the kings, at least in the modern era. And he's such an articulate person that I'm hoping we'll be able to open him up and kind of get a little bit of insight on himself, his surfing. But mainly today, we're going to catch up on The Hole, which is a Jeff Hornbaker and Don King documentary film about a boat trip in the Mentawai Islands a long time ago. I'm not too sure I love how they put the exact time of these movies on this thing. This thing's 53 minutes for everybody to know you're tuned in. But the trip looked insane. I know they found that wave known as The Hole, and Tom already had some great stories. There is no greater rush than getting a text message from Tom Carroll, let alone a 40-minute phone call where we just broke down some stuff. So I took it as a great omen. Today's gonna rock. Again, you can tell I'm just getting so freaking excited. I just want to keep gromming out. So I'm hoping I don't black out with Stoke in this FaceTime. But let me see here. Here's my... I think he just texted. Let's see. He says, "Whoops, I didn't get that you're running the video prior to our call. My apologies." No, he's the man. He says, "All good, Tanner." But it's cool. I mean, this is a crazy connection that's been happening each and every day, which is people are putting me in touch with other people that I think in surfing it's such a small world. It's really cool to reflect on. And too, at this time, it's globally, it couldn't feel more small. We're reaching out. We have viewers in Brazil, in Europe, in Hawaii, in Australia. And I don't know, it's really cool. Universally, I feel like we're connecting on the videos that really made us fall in love with surfing. And now as we move forward as surfers in the community, or even just next generation, pushing it forward to kids, it's really fun to keep the stories alive. I feel like there's that essence of nostalgia within surfing that's so important, and you learn a lot through the stories that are told, even if they're just fun, hilarious moments. We saw that with Nathan Fletcher. He was like a gold mine talking about Sonny Miller, and so many things I had not really known, and I had met Sonny a couple times. So Yeah, I mean, I'm really thankful to be here in the driver's seat, and I feel like I'm basically the viewer once the FaceTime happens, and it's just the curiosity of a kid, like always having that dream to be able to talk to a guy like Tom Carroll, and I don't know how I'm in that position, but I'm thankful to be in that position, and I mean, without further ado, why don't we just FaceTime him? Technology rocks, so we'll see if he picks up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom!
Just a second, I'm gonna get these things out of here.
Dude, how are you?
Yeah, good.
Hey,
Good.
hold on.
I just kind of screwed up a little bit, but
What happened?
anyway, I just didn't quite tap into. I've just been busy doing my thing. So, but anyway, I'll let you just get going because it's pretty cool to have you on the other end of the line here.
Is that? Should I call you back in a little bit? Is that better?
Yeah, that's cool.
Or-
Well, I'm ready to go.
Oh, okay. Hold on there, Tom. I just kind of did something weird. Let me see here. Let's see. You're on. Is it possible for you, Tom, to put your why does that keep happening? Your screen on sideways?
Yeah, no problem.
Yes. Okay, that's perfect. Now we'll get all zoomed in.
Just sort of laying it against something here.
Hey, how was your trip, Tom?
Sorry?
How was your trip down south?
It was real nice. Yeah, I was lucky to be able to do that. I got, it's got some interest in a property down there, and we had to kind of shut it. Well, had to shut it down because it's like everything's got to shut down at the moment. And it's pretty nice. It's got a little 9-hole golf course on it. It's got 42 beds, and like a little convention center, like a little spot, and a pool. And it's a really nice spot. There's a bunch of breaks close by, so
Whoa.
it's fun waves. Yeah.
Are you in with any other surfers, or is that just a?
No, it's just a few investors that we've had for a while now. It's been quite an effort trying to get it rolling and develop it, and it's just had quite a story behind it. But we're getting there.
That's cool.
And right now it's a bit of a hiccup, but hey, who's not in the hiccup?
I think globally, the whole world's having a hiccup right now.
One big go. Yeah.
At least it's nice to take a trip. I mean, that's all good.
Oh yeah, no, it was really cool. It was a little chance. I've got 3 daughters, and it was really lovely to have them in one place at one time, and me.
That's rad.
And we all got together, just spent a couple of days together, and it was just really special. Always special hanging out with those girls. Yeah.
I was thinking about our conversation that we had the other day. You said one of your daughters is a dancer.
Yes, my oldest one did too. She's 28. Her name's Jenna, and she danced and went to the elite level at the Birmingham Royal Ballet, and then she had an ankle injury and had to basically, when you get an ankle injury like that, dancing, it's like, what it's like when we're surfing, get an ankle injury, it really just cooks us for a long time.
Yeah.
It takes us out. So the elite level of ballet, it just took her out, unfortunately, and she'd done so well to get to where she got. By 20, she had to go over that cliff and change everything. So she did it. At that time, my second daughter, she paints these amazing oil paintings of just, she just blows my mind.
What? Oil painting?
She did this crazy, beautiful landscape. She's just taken by the mountains, just the power of mountains, and so she and snowscapes, a lot of that sort of stuff. Like, so she paints this beautiful, kind of realistic, but it has her own flavour. Wow. In the painting. So she does these beautiful things. So she's got a unique, but she was also quite a lovely dancer too. But my third daughter, she's like next level. She's like, she's 17, and she just had to come home from Paris and to get her out of there because, when Donald Trump said we're cancelling all flights to Europe. I just went, get her out of there now. So I took his leave, and we got her back just in time because the Paris Opera Ballet School where she was attending, 2 hours later after we changed the flight, shut shop.
I was curious if you ever dip into their workout programs, because I know for dance and ballet and things like that, like with the bar and the Pilates, and I know you're a real physically fit person. Have you ever dipped into that?
Well, interesting you say that, because I asked that because I back in '83, when I was in early '84, particularly early '84, when I was training to get better on small waves.
Yep.
Because I couldn't surf small waves very well. I was just fumbling, kind of pushed too hard, or just wasn't delicate in my style, and I lacked a little bit of that. So I actually, someone, my actually manager at the time suggested, when while you're over here, we're training specific on small waves and doing also the kind of aerobic stuff. Why don't we give ballet a chance? Because it's like just down the road here, there's a really good ballet studio down the road. And I went, why not?
What?
So I went and I did ballet for like 6 weeks straight, and that was one of the most humbling experiences of my life. It was like, you think, I'm like a pro surfer guy. I'm getting there. I'm going to win the world title. Maybe. I was thinking that. But I was like, And I went into a ballet studio. It was really tricky and real hard, and it was tough on the body. It was tough on the mind, and it really put me in my place. But it also taught me that it actually showed me what sort of dedication other, artists or I started looking at other athletes and stuff like that and what they did, or other sports particularly. But yeah, getting introduced to ballet was that was my introduction.
That is, is that before you had your world titles? I thought, did you get one in 83, 84?
Yeah, well, that was my lead up to the 80, my first world title. So I was training in small conditions because events were held in anything back then. Yeah. So we had to be ready, and I just wasn't ready in small surf. And so I spent the summer basically training, our summer, just training in really like places which I just didn't like surfing, to be honest. I know it sounds crazy. Why would I do that? But because I just didn't like really surfing really marginal conditions, and I had to learn how to do it, because when I was surfing against guys like Tom Curran, who could do a full roundhouse cutback in such a clean arc and turn, and he had such beautiful technique, and which I was learning off him. Even though he was younger, he was 5 years younger, but I was watching him and I was learning off him, because he had this beautiful technique, and I think that's what he gave the world, this technique you could emulate and you could bring into your own. It's like that's the gift that he gave us. And so I had to learn how to do that on little waves and this chunky, weird little body, but even though it's strong, and my mind too, like, I'm like off my tree, like generally I just like flopping way too hard for a little wave, So
that is such a hilarious problem to have.
Much more comfortable in powerful conditions, and in intense conditions. But I had to come to the little conditions in a really methodical way, and apply everything I had for 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, to get good at it. And that's what got me my first world title, really. I mean, everything else was sitting there ready to go, and there was no real problem with it. I just had to work on that particularly, and it paid off, because the first event of that lead up to the end of the world, to getting my first world title, was in Florida in really tiny waves.
Do you know where specifically in Florida?
It was a place called Bay Singer Island, and on an island was that we eventually went up the coast. It's actually when I first met Kelly and Sean and their father, and I remember this little kid, Kelly, like this little kid, and his bright eyes, like he was just like, he was like just buzzing, I just go, whoa, how's this kid's eyes? But that was really cool. I'll never forget. You don't forget those times, right? But we went up and surfed. Kind of lost the name now, but it was just up the coast. I had to shift the place. I ended up surfing against Joe Baran in the final and beating him, but it was brutal. It was so small.
That's so.
Paid off.
Think about that.
And then I went.
Didn't Joey Baran win a Pipe Master too? Maybe did he?
That's right. Yeah, Joe Baran's won a Pipe Masters. Joey was really good at pipeline. He was a tough competitor, Joey. Man, he was focused, intense.
But that's epic. Like, you guys have a final in Florida, and then later down the road, both become Pipe Masters. I love that.
Yeah, it was cool. I had a couple of good wins in Florida, but I needed and I had to come back to Florida actually to seal that. It's weird. I ended up basically winning a world title in Florida.
I do have to ask, because a lot of people wanted me to ask you about your equipment. I mean, you've always, I guess from the videos on the side of it, it looks like you always had longer boards, but in that moment when you were kind of learning the gravel mission, obviously too, you live pretty close to Simon Anderson. Was there any sort of like dip into a different kind of equipment to help you in those titles?
Well, yeah. Well, and Simon's I've had a lot to do with Simon, and I've got a lot of gratitude for Simon's work. He pulled me out of the single fin age into the thruster age, because I couldn't ride a twin fin. But on those times when I was working on those, my high performance small wave surfing, I was working with Phil Byrne from Byrne Surfboards.
Okay.
And we were working on straightening the curve, but keeping a subtle curve, but straightening the curve with belly channels in between. We didn't have any fin systems back then, but so we used to knock our fin. We used to get really good at fixing fins.
Ding repair.
Yeah, but that said, we used to have foam inserts in the fins to make them light. We used to, and I used to love the wide bases, and I used to have a subtle V. And then I have these 4 belly channels. What I mean, belly channels are just right down the middle. They don't run out off the rail or off the tail. Just 4, and create a straight spot, and I just get even more run on a small wave. And so I'd just be able to tilt it over on the V, but I'd still get a little bit of run. And those boards were really, really effective and became kind of like my just fit my wave surfing really well at the time, with the fins back on the tail. Like, we're talking 2.25 inches from the tail on the tail fin, and about 10.25 off up the front one. So that's pretty far back.
I just think it's so interesting. Like, I feel like there's a couple surfers whose surfboard IQ is pretty high. I mean, that sounds like yours is fairly high there, that fin placements off of the back of a board.
Yeah.
You must be pretty dialed in with your equipment.
I just love it. I'm not like super fastidious. I do like taking note of specific boards, so I have a baseline of understanding.
Yeah.
And I fluff around with feel, which is just super important. We're feeling our equipment from all kind of angles, right? Not only from the first time we look at the surf conditions, what feels right out of the bunch of boards I have in my car, or boards I have at home. What feels like the ones that's going to be inspiring me the most to go out on. You can't always know that straight away. As a good surfer, or as an experienced surfer, will know exactly what's going to feel right, in that surf. Or we'll just go, okay, we'll go to that board because that's going to, the froth. We're talking
yes,
froth.
We love the froth.
We talked about that on the phone a few days back, but and I think that enthusiasm to go, that's charm, just going straight towards what's right. And I think when we get a baseline of understanding of that board or those boards that you like best, you just get those measurements and you get really close with your shapers or whoever does it. If it's you that do the work on the computer, you can start to tweak things and understand it better. It actually just adds to the froth, which I and it's so cool when you get more input on the design of a board. I love, back in the day, like, say, Simon Anderson, Mark Richards, Wayne Lynch. It goes on and on. These guys have all shaped their own boards all their life. They're so close to the action. It's wonderful seeing how they are still today.
I have to ask on the Wayne Lynch, because growing up we got the Surfer's Journal biography DVD that had you paired with Wayne Lynch. Were you guys good friends?
Well, we see eye to eye, have a bit of a chuckle. I don't know. We're nicely acquainted, I would say.
Sick. Yeah.
So, we can talk today on a really, really, we connect today on a real nice way. But I very rarely talk to him. Maybe if I'm lucky, a couple of times a year.
Okay.
And he keeps to himself. He's very, he keeps himself. Particularly now, I can't imagine him. Poor bugger.
I loved the combo, I have to say, because it was so fun watching Wayne, and then also you were so lively on the camera, especially during all these clips, and just the moments that he was, his litmus section, and then for you, they break down like your pipeline, which I'd love to break down now, but like your big turn, and I didn't actually know that you had gotten the titles and stepped back for a little bit. It sounded like to sort of train for the Pipe Masters.
Well.
Was it?
Well, the way it went was really, if I look back and I kind of break that down, I have my titles, and then Tom took the titles, and I was sort of struggling through all that. I kind of wrestled with myself for a few years. Kind of lost my way a little bit with competition a bit, came back to it and went on a campaign to get another third world title. In that run, I got my first Pipeline Masters in 1987, but that's off the back of losing my sister in a car accident, literally like the night before. So, and that's the kind of it was like,
what?
It's when something like that happens to you. That's why I go, when I see someone doing something for such a larger purpose than themselves, watch out, because they become way better and way stronger and way more purposeful in their action. I think that was my biggest one there, whereas my sister was, when something like that happens, the shock through the system is so profound, and so all the crap just disappears.
Do you remember channeling like a thought?
Stuff.
Like before that, how were you able to put yourself in that headspace? That's incredible.
Well, the way it happened really was over the phone to my father the night before, and I said, look, I'm coming home, I'm not going to compete. I'm coming home, and he goes, look, Tom, Jared would really like you to go and, win the Pipe Masters.
Wow.
That's what she'd really like you to do. It brings up a lot of emotion for me right now, because it's like...
man, that's deep.
It's just exactly the way it was. Like I was kind of like guided towards kind of getting all that shit out of the way that's in my head about being in a competition.
Yep.
And literally nothing was in the way. I was so focused on. It's sort of like everything. I couldn't do a thing wrong. It's just crazy how the next day played out, and so I was able to stand up on the podium and say, I honour this to my sister. And so that in itself is like, whoa, I wasn't really, how can you play that stuff out? I mean, it's like playing anything. I mean, really, that sort of thing for me was so rich. But, I still wasn't ready to soak it in at that age and see it for what it really was. It took me some years to figure that out. And a lot of other pain stuff to go through. But then I went for the third world title in '88, and I eventually came down a Pipeline in the Billabong event, which was the last event of the year. I had 2 heats to win. I had 3 actually. the one that I was in, that I got the interference
with Todd Holland.
Todd Holland.
Yep.
And then there was 2 more to win to get the world, to secure the world title. But it was a good buy. It was, had a really good board, like the sickest board.
Yes.
Like 6-channel Pat Rawson, just the most beautiful board, and I just felt super confident about that. But I couldn't have been more opposite in the mental state than what I was with that Pipeline Masters after the effect of losing my sister, where my mind was emptied down. I had all this other stuff layered on, and I really hadn't learned, I hadn't grown really out of that space. I sort of like that, oh my God, I lost my sister. I hadn't grown out of that and seen the gift yet. But it was devastating. I was just so anxious in that surf with Todd Holland, and I made a particularly just a silly. It was a technicality. I didn't actually. It was a.
Yeah, it's weird. He like goes straight and then kind of turns towards back door. It didn't. I mean, it almost.
Yeah. Yeah. So what happened was the technicality was back then. Like I'd already gotten one that year already. I was actually paddling on the other down the beach on the steam to be on the same line of swell, and my competitor had paddled way down the beach and the judges, took the technicality and awarded interference on me because I paddled for it. The other guy had priority, and then I pulled back, and I still got done. And it wouldn't happen today. And so at Pipeline, I was just looking at every wave because I just guess my anxiety was pretty prominent. It was prominent in my mind that I just got to look at every opportunity here because it's coming down to the crunch. Even though I felt really good about everything else, I just wanted to look at every opportunity. He had priority. He was a bit further out than me. There was some solid ones, 8-footers coming through pretty thick, and it was a little bit of funky wind on it at that point, and I was going, just want to make sure, just have a look at this one. So I spun around, took 2 paddles. He saw me and then just went for it no matter what, because he knew that there was a chance of getting me on an interference technicality, even though there was no interference. But that was a technicality. I didn't take that into account.
How crazy are the rules back then?
Carroll, you're out. So that was, I ended up beating the crap out of my rental car steering wheel and just tearing it.
What? Normally it's the surfboard.
Kainui Road, I was just like,
oh.
The frustration had to come out somewhere, and that's probably the best place to come out, right? But it started coming out there big time.
Isn't it so interesting that there's such pivotal moments? Obviously, like, it's hard to be able to boil down an entire world title year into one specific wave, but in surfing there is that, where it's you work for a full year and it's like, this floater I fell on, or that, in this case, that technicality, and it just, you have to be overloaded with emotion after that.
Oh yeah, it all popped out.
Straight onto the steering wheel.
And sorry?
Straight onto the steering wheel.
Yeah. It's quite kind of symbolic, isn't it? Yeah, let go of the steering wheel and just crush that thing. I just it took a couple of years to kind of it took a year, I think, 6 months to a year to kind of fall apart, and then start to kind of reassess what I really wanted to do, and that was actually win more Pipeline Masters, and that's kind of what I focused on, and lo and behold, it happened. I started to work, and I started to, focus on particular surfboards and equipment and sign and a kind of way of surfing I just absolutely loved. So I just went to that. I no longer trusted a system that at some deeper level, and I never really saw that at that time, but when, in that Surfers Journal episode, with Wayne mentioned, there's that interview with myself, and I think my brother's being interviewed in that, and he talks about how, I didn't hear this until I listened to that interview, that because Nick's so good at being I guess a warning sign for me, like a stop sign, a go sign. It's been really good for me that way. And he actually mentioned, I think Tom may have lost trust in
the system.
In the system, and
yeah.
And he said, I didn't know that until quite a long time down the track, but I can't trust this, because literally 6 hours later, after that incident took place, during the meetings of the ASP, the decision to use that ruling, the interference was cancelled. So that for the next year, a whole new way of looking at it started to take effect.
Did you start to channel your energy into, you've done so much with Quicksilver, but did you at that sort of time start to look more towards video parts with freedom of expression? The crew you were with on the team was incredible with Potts and RCJ. Was that kind of what you were thinking?
No, I just, I was going with the flow. I started to sort of, invest a bit of my time with Quicksilver down the track. Going into the 90s, I invested in working in a partnership to do a license with Quicksilver to do products within the surfing market, and that started to take off, and I stopped full-time competition. By the time 93 came around, I'd had 2 daughters, and it was just almost, I just didn't have the focus anymore on non-stop, continuous 12 months focus on wanting to win. It just wasn't in me anymore. But lo and behold, this really cool, all this other really cool stuff started to happen that I didn't know was going to happen, such as the mental way and all this really amazing kind of direction that the surf brands, particularly, and Quicksilver saw the opportunity. We went in 92, I went for a mate's trip. And because I'd done trips with Quicksilver, we were working with Tahiti and other places that Quicksilver have been developing their marketing material with through, particularly Hawaii and Tahiti, some parts of Europe, but there was in Australia. But so we went on a friend of mine knew someone who had a boat that was going to go out to these crazy islands that had waves that going around them. I didn't know what was going on. I said, well, I think we better go and get up there and have a look at what's going on. Let's do a mate's trip. No photographers, none. So there was not going to be any photographers or anything. So we all got together, and actually on that trip was Potts and Ross was on it, and a bunch of good mates, and a couple of guys from New Zealand that we didn't know, and the captain Martin Daly, who was Martin Daly.
Oh wow!
Yeah, Martin Daly. I'd never met Martin before. He'd never met us. He didn't even know what he was getting himself into, having us on board.
Oh my God! Get ready, put your seatbelt on.
He didn't know what the hell was going on, so it turned out to be quite a trip.
Did you find the hole on that trip, or did you actually find the hole?
No, this was, Martin wasn't showing us into he was sort of mucking around with the maps. So we didn't know what we were looking at. We were looking at the maps. Where are we,
Yeah.
What is this place? How come we're going around the corner and down there and all of a sudden there's a wave? We're trying to figure out what's going on. And we ended up calling it the Where the Fuck Are We's, because we didn't know where the fuck we were.
Where the fuck are we's?
Yeah.
Yes.
Where the fuck are we's? And that's exactly what we called it. We're in the Where the Fuck Are We's. So we didn't really give a fuck, to be honest.
That's so good.
Yeah. So it was just fun, and we got incredible waves. I'd never seen a place like it, and I just go, no one's going to come up here.
Like, where are we even?
I'm going, no one's going to make it out of here. This is so far away from everything, and there was so much surf, and we had a really good swell. I mean, it turned out my experiences from that point to now up there, we got a cracking swell. Like, we surfed one break down in Ghana, which is not the Mentawai, because we come up from Jakarta up to the Mentawai from the south.
Whoa.
Which is a long way.
Yeah, how long is that? That's quite a ride.
Yeah, it took us a couple of days, and we had a really fast boat. It was a prawn trawler from Western Australia with a shallow draft, and it was a fiberglass boat, which is a bit suspect out there because you could crack something and get a hole in it down the middle of nowhere. But Martin was going for it, just 18 knots, as Martin does.
I know, huh? He's a cowboy.
He's a classic. Anyway, so yeah, Martin's opened up some doors, for us, and in every way. But we surfed this left on the third day, and by the time we came in, it was 15 feet plus. Like, it was scary.
Wow.
Big barrels, and I couldn't take off on anything, any of the sets, because I was only on a 710, and I had the longest board on the boat, and I was able to kind of stick it out. Potts was out on I think he was on a 610. Ross might have had a 7.0.
I'm sure Ross had a can-do attitude with that, but I'm just thinking about that. There was, at that time, got to be no swell forecasting involved, right? You got on that boat, and whatever you saw. You
just went. Back then, we just went. You just sort of wake up. Okay, it's like this. We just didn't know, and we scored big time, and then that swell lasted, for the next 10 days. Even though we were that surfed out, isn't this crazy? We were so surfed out that we pulled the trip up short.
What? Wow, that is proper surfed out. There's always got to be one guy on the boat that's ready to grind out another surf.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? It was like, we're just done, the swell that drops, and we go, we're surfing all kinds of crazy waves too, like not just the ones that are surfed today. Like, the first time I saw macaronis, we called it the steel vagina.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, because it was just this hole, like, beautiful. Ross said, that's the steel vagina.
Oh my gosh.
And we're just looking down this thing from the deck, and we're going, this thing's just, look at it.
Dude, that sounds like a proper boys trip in Indo right there.
Proper. And that's how it was.
How did the crew, because that's a similar crew to the Hole, but now there's Chris Malloy involved. How did Chris find himself on that?
On the Hole, well, there was just a decision to kind of bring a couple of different crew on. This was initiated by Don King and Jeff Hornbaker, who really wanted to make, some productions to get it out there to make the film. Jeff had they've both been still photographers, but they were moving towards film. Okay. Particularly Don, and had a lot of respect for Don. We've done some work before in Tahiti, and he's brilliant. Both of them brilliant working with the camera in every way, creative ways. Yeah.
Do you know, was that Don King who took the cover shot and the shot that's on the VHS?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Don's shot. And Don wouldn't normally, he was usually using film, but this particular motion film camera, but this one afternoon he decided to paddle out with his, swim out, I should say, with his fisheye and shoot. So that was kind of cool. He got that shot, it was like a classic shot.
It is
classic Don King. He was one of those guys that used to hang, and break, sort of break ground or a pipeline with his wide angle shots from behind, and really start to sort of pave the way for just brilliant water work. Yeah.
That shot, to me, the cover shot, and it's on the VHS, it literally embodies a feeling where it's like you have your mohawk, you're just flexed out, you're soul arching in the middle of your board. To me, it's like that's a shot I literally could blow up like life size and just have it in my house just to feel good every day.
Yeah, there you go. It's like a, that board is a beautiful board, actually shaped by Wayne Lynch.
Whoa.
And the night before, we because there'd been no waves, right? So the big thing on those boats back in the day, if there'd been no waves, it was sort of like customary to have a bender because
sacrificial night.
And if we all blew out that night, guaranteed there's going to be waves tomorrow morning, right? So close.
I love this.
So you saw it on the whole in the video that we all went crazy, and when we started going crazy, we started cutting our hair and doing the thing. I said, "Yeah, okay, Pops, do it." Get a mohawk, come on, I'll do that. So the next minute, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, getting up and against the pillow. I could feel my scalp like a whoa, how's that feeling? And then I never forget, actually, I had this kind of mohawk thing going on. I'm going, whoa, let's do that. I could remember it, but I was still kind of a little drunk. And I opened the cabin door, which I was staying with Ross, and he always turns it down to 16 degrees Celsius, which is cold. And I don't particularly like that. But anyway, I opened the door and then looked outside going, whoa. And it's just this sticky air just gripped it. And I go, whoa, wow, that felt kind of cool. And then I'm going to just dive in the water, see how that feels. So I just dove off. Wow, felt the water on my head first time like that. And it was so cool.
It is such a look. It's such a vibe. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, it was felt really nice to have a mohawk. I don't know what that is, but it felt really good and it felt right.
It's funny because Potts got one, and Potts isn't quite on the mohawk level, but he's got some action there where it got like bicked off on one of the sides. It's like the boys, they had one.
Yeah, it was like everyone went for their own special version of what they wanted.
I love it.
What they thought they wanted. But anyway.
I had to ask you too, because talking about mohawks in your head, I don't know the story of how you came to be wearing a helmet at Pipeline.
Oh yeah, let's go back to that. It's a kind of cool one because it's so important today. You can see, Cole Christensen, poor guy, he got whacked just on the last day of December.
Yes.
And he's lucky to be with us. So I'm so glad that he is. But that case, I go back to 1984 when Steve Masterfeller, he's from the mainland. He used to be, Surf Hawaii, was a Halley guy. And back in, I'll just give you a little background here because this is why it means so much to me.
Yeah.
He was in the late 1970s when I started going to Hawaii, early 80s. There wasn't many friendly people in the water. It just wasn't friendly. People didn't really say hi. People weren't really talkative. There's a bit of stink eye going on, or a bit of hustle. It just wasn't friendly, right? And there was one guy that I used to talk to who was friendly, and that was Beaver, one of the guys. There was a couple, but he was a friendly guy. Like, I just liked talking to him. He happy, kind of nice guy, really enthusiastic, just kind of a little bit like me, and I kind of got on. I used to really like seeing him in the water, and then in 1984, I was focused on Pipeline to some degree, but I still loved the whole North Shore effect. But 1984, I'd won at Sunset, and I was starting to look at Pipeline as somewhere I really want to start to move on, really charge, and just to get better. I was trying to get better at it, And so, not even just charge, just get really good at it. So there was one guy, Vince Mastrow, I should say. He actually had an accident during the Pipeline Masters in 1984 and got cracked in the head, cracked his head open, got medevaced out. And I heard about this, and back then there wasn't all that instant stuff, but there's this, he got medevaced out, got taken, he's going to go off for, he's got to have his skull looked at, and he may have to have cert, he may not be okay, and it kind of hit me. God damn, Beaver, like, I hope he's all right. And so a year went by. Next winter, I didn't ever see him other than Hawaii, and I got to Hawaii, and he was like wearing a bright orange helmet, like it looked like one of the whitewater helmets. Kind of a thick one,
like a river rafting one,
like a river rafting, but this one's like had foam all through it, and it was orange, and you could see him a mile off. And I kind of paddled up to him. It was at Sunset Beach, I'll never forget it. Paddled up to him to see him, say hi, and he was a different person. He just wasn't Beaver. Steve Beaver, Massapo, we call him Beaver. And he was just a different person, and he had a little thing going on with his speech, and it hit me.
Yeah, for sure.
It hit me, and I go, oh my God. Like, this has happened to this guy, and he's different. And I started to go, well, maybe I'm going to have to wear a helmet at Pipeline. And that took me from 1984 to 1987 to get there. Like, it took me a few years to actually get a helmet, figure out how, I don't know. I was lucky to get a helmet. It was actually, I put the feelers out there. And Jim Bradley, who ran the New South Wales school surfing program, who was actually supplying these also whitewater rafting helmets, but they actually had a kind of a draining mechanism and no foam. It just had this webbing that held your head and this shell that was just slightly off the head, and had strips taken out so your hair kind of hung out. Well, when I had hair, it used to hang out these strips, but so I started looking at wearing a helmet, but like I said, it took me a few years. I got second to Derek Ho in the Pipeline Masters in '86, without a helmet, but actually busted eardrum that year, and I plugged that thing up with,
Wait, you surfed with a busted eardrum?
Yeah, with blue tack. Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
And, pipe, I think that's going to stop you, right?
Oh, wow!
But funnily enough, '87 comes around, and I've got myself a helmet, and of course, I lose my sister. The whole thing goes down. I've got a helmet. I'm just going for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not even thinking. It gave me so much confidence, and probably a little bit too much. Maybe. I don't know. But definitely, I ended up using that helmet from now on in at Pipeline, and I ended up hitting the reef a few times with that helmet on, particularly in the back of the head.
Yeah.
A couple of times where I cracked. Put marks in the helmet, and I'm sure it's ate me.
I have to imagine that.
I want to go deep at pipe. I want to get behind it, and I wanted to be able to surf it the best I could. So
that was your approach when you're out of pipe, is to say, "Hey, I'm sitting deeper, going harder, always."
Yeah, and the level of the position that I had to get into within myself to go and push myself and be relaxed, like, because you got to be relaxed. You can't be just sort of this. You need to look at the great surfers of Pipeline now. They're so relaxed. You've got Jamie O'Brien. You've got John Florence. This is name a few. Kelly. These guys are relaxed. So there wasn't that much. Surfing Pipeline wasn't very relaxed back then. And it wasn't. Surfing Hawaii wasn't very relaxed.
Yeah.
There was nothing relaxed, And then plus I myself was tired. I feel a lot more relaxed now.
But it is a really interesting thing, and I did want to ask you, because when you're dealing with something that is bringing so much fear in your life, where you're paddling out a pipe and you're seeing it's scaring the living bejesus out of you, and how you get yourself into really focused. Like we were talking the other day, like it's not over froth, but you're very, like you're excited, but you're able to relax to get the most out of yourself in those really scary moments. Is that?
And and your senses are really heightened, but they've got to be pin sharp, and you want it to last for a while, not like it has to be sustainable. Whatever's going on, we want to be able to sustain this level of focus and attention to detail and action. So and right action. So we don't want to be thinking. You just literally don't want to be thinking at all when we're taking the drop. We're just responding. So it's we want to be relaxed in that response to what's going on. So that helmet definitely helped me go a bit deeper, and in a very focused way, not in a and all the responses that I had from within myself towards what happened to Beaver that time told me this was the best possible way to do this, for me. And for I'll still paddle out Poplar with a helmet today. If I ever go out again, I'm not sure when that might be, but I'd like to.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a very competitive lineup.
Well, I do have to just go on record right here and thank you, because the work you did in the helmet throughout your career has literally made it not just acceptable, but cool, because it is kind of an interesting thing to be. You don't want to be seen as overly prepared or somebody that's like, oh, I'm like worried, but it actually, because of what you did at Pipe, it means you're basically more hell-bent for leather if you have your helmet on, which actually you're more safe too. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I get it. Like, a combination of wanting to be cool and not be seen, that I get that. That's totally in the way of performance. Does that make sense?
It does.
It's totally in the way of, to some degree we want to perform well for others, to some degree, but ultimately inside we want to perform the best we can for ourselves, so we get this cool kind of feeling out of riding the wave and making the wave, like in making an intense section and getting the experience of really putting ourselves in a situation, and then you just get this great rush. But for us surfers, and I get it, like I don't paddle out with something on my head very often, because I like to have the full sensory experience of surfing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to feel like I've got a condom on. But,
a dome on your dome?
It's like we got this sensory kind of, we think, when we first see it, we go, oh, geez, that looks kind of, number one, goofy, kind of looks silly. Why would you be wearing that? It's kind of taken away from the board shorts freedom kind of idea of surfing and complete freedom aspect of surfing, which we get. Even if we eventually do put something on the head and get used to it, we still have that same experience, and that's been my experience. That after I got used to the helmet, used to wearing the gear, and made it kind of right for myself, I was fine.
Yeah.
I got the same sensory experience. It's incredible what our brain does. It just sort of accommodates things at a sensory level, and it starts to sort of send messages that are the same as what was before, and makes it, and because we want to survive the situation, it'll start to make way for whatever possibly is in the way.
I like too, and it kind of makes me reflect. I'd be curious your thoughts on the flotation vest now, because you surf large waves. You have your whole career, and the helmet is a tool. The level is basically ramping up and getting so advanced now in these big gnarly conditions that the equipment and the safety actually has to be taken more seriously, because more people are putting themselves in that spot.
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. If you're a kid like right now, like, and you kind of got a little bent in the like I do,
A little bent?
and you're like 10 years old, and you go, oh, how's that? How's those guys pulling in those slabs down in WA? Or,
Yep.
you know, how's what Kai Lenny's doing? Like, oh, man, we just want to charge that thing. You
Yep.
know, like, you know, or we just go and see, you know, what, you know, Grant Twiggy Baker got that way, and I'm playing it over and over in my head. I just want to get one of those things. I'm going to ride a bigger one than that. I know that feeling, just from my experience, you know. Like, so there's some kid doing that. Like,
Yeah.
some kid doing that. And at the moment, we've got some pretty... I mean, we're getting better and better at putting safety. You know, Kai Lenny doesn't just go out there and do what he does without a team, you know. Neither do these guys down in WA on these slabs down the right in Western Australia. Neither do the guys do that at Chopu, you know, places like this. There's, you know, if we're smart, we plan it out, we take our time, we prepare, we have the right equipment, and today we're just getting better and better at that. You know, surfing for me, it's not like big waves yet, like mountaineering where lives get taken all the time. It's quite regular for people to lose their life. What about those guys? You know, mountaineering is just really dangerous, and people's lives are constantly getting taken by those mountains.
Yep.
We don't have that particular heavy danger level yet in surfing. We're losing lives, but we'll have pretty dramatic injury, and we could lose lives. We can see that people like, you know, Greg Long almost lost his life out at
Cortez.
Cortez Bank,
Yeah.
and things like this happen. And, you know, Aaron Gold, you know, just randomly at Cloudbreak was, you know, thankfully brought back.
Which I think it kind of does, it brings you back to, like you're saying, being prepared, having a team. Like you for sure have, I mean, I remember watching older videos of you towing Outer Revelations maybe, or like Outer Phantoms, and Troy Lotus was there, and like you had a crew of guys essentially that you'd watch each other's backs in situations like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We were just learning then. We were really learning. We were pretty raw. We were very raw. Today it's so much better. There's the better equipment. Still things fail. So you've got to do your checklist. Not like just small wave surfing. We've got to do our checklist. You know, you talk about the guys that, you know, towing Nazare. The stuff that's going on there, the checklist is long.
Yeah.
To go for a surf, just to touch one of those sessions. So we've got to get used to that stuff. And in surfing, it's not just grabbing a pair of boards. It's cool to go for a longboard session with a pair of boardies and walk the plank. You know, it's a really lovely feeling, right?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful feeling, and that's what surfing at the essence is. But it doesn't stop, you know, putting the gear on in a situation. So I've been foiling lately, and so foiling's got a lot of its own little dangers.
Oh, yeah.
It's got machetes, sort of. And I've been using headgear to do that. Like I know that I'm just prone, and I'll crack my head, and I already have with headgear on. And thankfully, it was on my head, but it was a really big crack, and it wasn't pleasant.
But I guess I was just wanted to thank you, because you basically took something that was function and made it fashion, and I think that's cool for surfing in general, because it's rad to have heroes and icons and for them to break boundaries, not just surfing, but like taking it serious to allow themselves to push their own level, which is basically the most badass thing you can do as a surfer. So I don't know.
Sure. And that's what's so cool when we watch someone doing something really, really good. Doesn't matter what it is, you know. Or even from watching, you know, my daughter dance, or, you know, something like that.
Totally.
So I just go, oh my God, I feel it, I'm doing it. So that's so cool. When someone's doing something amazing, I love that, and that you're actually doing it with them. It's a beautiful thing. You can take it on board. What are they doing? How come that's happening like that? And I love that. Thanks for sharing that with me. It's like,
dude, honestly, thank you. And thanks for taking the time, Tom. This has been really sick. Like, we should FaceTime more. We should just like stay best friends.
Yeah. Absolutely, Tanner. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna put in the hole right now. Do you have, just to bring us back, you got any kind of last fun times on that trip, a session in particular, or a section of the video that's your favorite?
was a really memorable moment. But one of the biggest moments for me was actually having to put an IV drip in Ross's arm because he ended up getting dehydrated, right? So heavily dehydrated because he got some sort of gut bug, after having that night, right? And then we had the whole session, and then he was just sick from that point for about 5 days straight, and we had to call up for medical help. He was delirious in the bedroom, and like sick. Like,
oh wow!
He was not good. He wasn't any good, no. And then when he's a mess, he's a mess.
RCGA.
And we had to call up we called up a medical person to help us, but then we kept on getting cut off from them, so we called another boat to see if they could help us, and there was a half-trained nurse. This person had done 1.5 years of nurse training. He was, and he said, "Look, I can talk you through putting an IV in, which we had available." And I'd had IVs in many times just here, in that part of my wrist, into a vein here. But this nurse got me to put one into the vein in here, into Ross, and I had to find it and get it in there. And the funny thing is, when a person's super dehydrated, they're delirious and they're just really, really lethargic and floppy. And as soon as you start putting fluid, I got it in, and we're at HTs, Lance is right, and it was really good. I said, "Ross, I'm going to get this in, and I'll get it in, you'll be fine, and we'll get it in." I got it in there pretty well. First go, I got it in. But, you've got to keep your arms straight. Right? The next minute I'm surfing HTs and we get some nice barrels, and there's Ross on the back deck. Because as soon as you start getting saline into you, it's like, your mind starts sparking again, things starts coming online, and he's like off the back of the deck of the boat with this, holding his unit, going, "Hey, I won't be ready to go surf." I said, "Ross, no."
Oh my, he's like waxing a board up.
And then I came just start, and he goes, "Oh, fuck!" He starts yelling, "Fuck!" Because he's busted through the vein, right? And then the fluid starts pouring out outside his vein.
Oh.
It's popped, right? And I had to go in, get it, and re-put it in here into his vein on the wrist, so it didn't move around so much, and just tell him to calm the phone.
Oh my God, RCJ, like you want to talk about a frothy one, huh? Like Ross Clark is.
Yeah, you can't keep. As soon as you put the froth in there, it's gone. It's just... That was memorable. But I had a great trip with that Potts and Chris, and there's another guy. Joel Jones
yes.
from Newport, and and he's a ripper. He's so good. We actually caught up with Garth Dickinson on the boat on the trip too, who's a great surfer from the south coast here in New South Wales. He was surfing HTs that day, and just overall just a great trip.
Rad.
Yeah. Mm.
Oh man, well it's been a blast to reconnect with it for sure. I like the soundtrack. It's like kind of more mellow than I thought. It's got a full feel to it.
Yeah, like I said, Don and Jeff did their work, and they did a great job.
It's interesting too because it's called a documentary film on the cover. I thought that I always for us, we watched it as Groms growing up, like that's what a mentalized boat trip would be. And I wondered if they filmed it in a sense of trying to show you every aspect of a boat trip.
Yeah, they tried to bring a story to it, because back then surf movies were pretty raw. We were coming into a stage. I mean, I think the first movie that was done with a storyline, apart from Endless Summer and things like that, probably like Mad Wax, the Quicksilver did.
Yes.
Mad Wax, and had like a full storyline. We acted it out, and
yep.
We had scenes to act and stuff. That was funny. That was 85. It's like that. This one, they really wanted to make it a piece that, gave a story about what it was like to be on a boat trip in the meantime. And, that was Jeff and Don doing great work.
That's rad. I love it. Well, we're going to get fired up on it, Tom. Thank you again.
Yeah. Thanks.
Good to talk to you.
Great tuning in.
We'll see you soon.